Good evening to everybody. Thanks for joining this session and registering for this webinar on benefits of Power BI for an enterprise. Right? Data in an organization, as we all know, is a gold mine. Tons of data reside in an organization, and organizations which can effectively consume this data for business benefits are the successful ones. Power BI helps you to visualize data in a form where you can convert data into information and into actionable insights to take uh, decisions. Management enables business managers to take decisions on time, to improve the velocity of the supply chain, to improve the visibility of the supply chain. And today, organizations don't compete with each other. The supply chains do. For example, a Coke or a Pepsi don't compete with each other, but their supply chains do. How fast and efficiently can they replenish to the point of use defines how successful they are in the business. So there's a lot of data getting captured. How many crates are getting empty? Where is it getting empty? So it's a whole lot of complex supply chain data which gets into their systems and enables the business managers at every point in the supply chain to take corrective action and take real-time decision making. This is the power of visualizations, which today's tools bring and enables business managers. Today, we will see how the areas of purchase, sales, inventory, supply, finance, manufacturing are enabled, and we would be more than happy to answer your questions, if any, at the end of the session. We have a 10 to 15-minute session. We have a demo. The speaker of the day today is Ms. Srividya, who has more than 2.5 decades of experience spanning across business and varied technologies. And without much ado, over to you, Srividya.
Thanks, Gopal, for the kind introduction. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to share our experience with respect to the business scenarios that we have faced while trying to address the concerns that Gopal raised, and what kind of solutions that we have offered them, or what solutions have worked for them, and what benefits they got by implementing them. So we're just going to share our experience in 2-3 scenarios. So often when we walk into our customer's place, what we hear is they have a lot of data. IT industry has matured over the last 10, 20 years. So most of the organizations have multiple ERPs, multiple CRMs, legacy systems that have been built over time. But then since they've been built over time, they do not talk to each other, in the sense the item code in one system and the item code in the other system may not be the same, or the salesman code in one system and the salesman code in the other system may not be the same. So essentially, if you want to have, let us say, from CRM to ERP, the entire chain, if you would like to have a report which actually tracks from the lead conversion to the collection, sales collection, then you may have to make them talk to each other, or you may have to do some work after taking out the reports from them. The other critical area that we have seen always is, while actual sales are in the ERP systems, the budgets, the sales budgets, the annual budgets that are set are mostly in Excel. And similarly, the forecasts are also maintained in Excel. So if at the end of the month, if someone wants to have a review and they want to say like, okay, this for a particular salesperson or a division, this was the target and this is how you have achieved. And both are essential to do a review. Now, when you want to do it, you would like to have it in the same report. So how do you get it? How do you get that done? And another important opportunity that businesses face today is they have tons and tons of data. Like for example, a business has been capturing data for last 10 years. Now you have a huge historic data from which you could calculate the lifetime value of a customer. Now, what is the gold mine that you can derive out of them? Like, what kind of analysis that can be done out of it? So those are the questions that customers start engaging with us whenever we walk into our customer's place. So when you have disparate systems like this, some of the challenges that you face are data is not correlated in the sense, and more often than not, what happens is, for the kind of reports that need to be generated, 9 o'clock in the morning, there is a department, either an MIS department or a executive secretary department or a quality department, which pulls out data from ERP, from CRM. They take the data out in Excel and they correlate the data. They finally generate one sheet of Excel sheet, which has got all the data that the leadership team wants to see. Now, day in and day out, this is done for daily reports. And for monthly reports and for the quarterly reports, sometimes when you want to review against targets, against budgets, it may take 10 to 15 days depending upon how big your organization is. If your number of salespersons are more than 300, 400, and with multiple locations and geographies, then what happens is just to generate that report, there has to be a team which is working on it. And in all of these situations, it takes a long time for the report to be made available to the leadership team. Any delay in data, any delay in generating the insight delays the action that is taken. The swift actions when taken at the right time leads to the right results. So, and also the moment you take the data out of the ERPs and CRMs, no longer the data is under corporate governance because you have taken data out of corporate network. So the security part, the security requirements are not satisfied over there. And this is something that happens on a daily, monthly, and quarterly and yearly basis. And to understand the performance, the leadership has to actually scan through multiple reports. So one of the solutions that we gave that was given was we put up a centralized data store over there where we took the data from ERP, CRM, Excel sheets, probably the budgets and the sales budget and the sales forecast data comes from the Excel, and possibly there are other legacy systems which are there, possibly point of sale systems. All of them, we correlate the data, we do the modeling over there, we make the data available in one place, and then the Power BI reports are generated from there. And the KPIs are generated. For example, what is the churn rate? What is the lead to sales conversion rate? What was the collection that was done? When was it produced? And what's the lead time for production? What is the lead time for shipment? All of these, all the turnaround times can be tracked in the KPIs, and insights can be tracked, and then the leadership data can be the data can be made available to the leadership. Now the advantage that we found is, first of all, we're not dependent anymore on the people involved. So which means that there is a lot of staff who have been employed and who have been doing this day in and day out. They can now be used for more productive activities. They are available for more productive activities. At the same time, they could be auditing these reports because they are the ones who know how it's done and they can review these reports. But then they don't have to be involved in producing these reports. And also, now, because you have lots of data, there's a huge possibility for us to look at the past data and predict future trends. For example, last 10 years, this is the lifetime value of the customer. So who are the people who I have to treat as a preferred customer? So, and also what are the kind of what is their liking based upon that I could feed into a recommender system. Like all of these kind of possibilities exist because I am sitting on a tons of data with me. And also I could use the AI and ML capability of Power BI to prediction as to this was the prediction last year. Now based on that data I could do the prediction for the production this year. Similarly for the sales, similarly for operations, right? So it allows me to predict and forecast future activities based on which I could do my planning. So all in all, there was a turnaround time reduction of 10 days to average of 10 days to a few minutes because all the data update is totally automated. You could do it multiple times a day. So that is a very common scenario in all kinds of businesses. So now we're going to take a scenario, possibly this is very specific to finance. More often than not, how many of our ERPs we have? We could have multiple ERPs when we have running multiple organizations and company groups, but our cash flow is always in Excel most of the times, right? And we would like to analyze it. So what can happen is that what we could do is we could take this cash flow into Power BI and do all kinds of historical analysis. In the sense, I could compare it with period over period, in the sense month over month or a quarter over quarter comparisons can be done, and you can find out which are the heads where the cash is coming in or going out. All of those, the hierarchical analysis can be done in terms of your heads, cost centers, or in terms of your accounting heads, or in terms of your organization structure. All of that is possible. And the moment you take the data into Power BI, it gives you an option to do modeling, and also it gives you access to the basic AI and ML capabilities plus all the interactive visualization capabilities. Now we are going to take the next scenario, which is very, very common. We've taken the example of we've taken the case of a manufacturing, but we could also discuss about other scenarios over here. More often than not, a lot of data, Excel is a great tool, and it's easily available. And most of us use, all of us use Excel plus other things, right? So while right from sales to shipment is available in the ERPs, some organizations may have production daily production data, not they may not upload it into the ERP. So in such case, but they would still, like, let's say your production, your from the time the raw material enters the factory to the time the finished good comes out, let's say it takes about 10 processes, and it takes about a month lead time. Now you would want to know where exactly is my material stuck, what is the inventory that is stuck in each one of these processes, right? We would like to track that. We would like to have a visibility of my orders, right? So in such cases, what people generally do is they kind of use Excel because it's very easily available. And while they're entering the data in Excel, there's a lot of manual entry, manual errors that are done, and data needs to be reconciled across factories if there is more than one factory available. And to generate a meaningful report out of it when more people are involved takes about a last week of the month. You need to set aside for it so that you're able to produce a report on the first of the month. And if your production is stopped, let's say you consider the month end to be the 31st of the month, then it takes another 1 week to make the data available. Essentially there is a delay. Now to this, the one of the solution that we gave for this was we use Power App to collect data. Power App is nothing but as a part of the Power Platform suite of products given by Microsoft. And Power App is a very low code platform with which you could do multiple operations. And in this case, we use that to collect data. So to all the factories, we gave Power App through which they entered the data. And as the user entered the data, it was getting validated. So the reconciliation part is much lesser now, and the data is collected in the SQL Server, and reports are generated from the in Power BI from the SQL Server. So now you could have insights, you could have visibility into what is happening in your daily operations too, and you don't really have to wait for the end of the month. These reports can be generated on demand, and more often than not, uh, the Power BI right now is available as part of Outlook Office 365 or M365. So they could be available, they could be embedded back into Teams or embedded back into Power Apps as well. So which means that from the turnaround time of average of 10 days, we have now reduced it to about 1 day or a few minutes. So which also means that the people involved over there were all freed up to do other work. So if you look at the business benefits that we have used, that we have derived out of this Power BI, considering all of these scenarios. So while we were talking about cash flow being present in Excel, it could also be that you could have most companies have employee reimbursements also maintained in Excel. So they could also be taken into Power BI and analyzed. So like or vehicle maintenance is being maintained in Excel. So while we have tried to make the use case as generic as possible, though they were all the solutions that we've given. We could actually think of multiple scenarios in our organization where these solutions can be made available. Uh, One of the biggest benefit that we saw was reduction in the turnaround time for insight generation or report generation from 20 days to under a minute. And that actually eventually led to staff being more available for more productive work. And also because we are consolidated all of them in one place. Either you're consolidating them in a data warehouse model, or you're consolidating them directly in Power BI. You have one version of truth. So which means there is no the constant the constant the problem that we face when you have multiple systems is which data is right when you have multiple systems which are not correlated. But that is solved with this. And we were able to generate KPIs in matrices in like for a process driven organization which is more into defining the processes, KPIs and matrices. Pure BI comes very handy to generate them. And most often than not, what actually happens is there is a big citizen community which is working with Power BI in addition to what Microsoft provides. Microsoft themselves upgrade a lot of visuals and on a monthly basis. Besides that, there's a big citizen community whose visuals when we could take those visuals, the tried and tested ones and the approved ones can be taken and used in our reports and dashboards. So that is actually a very big bonus that we see when we work with Power BI. And also, working with Power BI, it helps you to take both strategic as well as tactical decisions. Strategic decisions, like probably when you do your analysis, you may find that certain product lines do very well in certain locations and they don't do well in other locations, right? So which are the product lines which have to be continued in which locations? Those kind of strategic decisions can be taken after having looked at the past data, like having looked at the historic data. And also tactical and operational decisions, as what is the problem, or what is the probably the overall production manager who's controlling multiple factories can be sitting at a completely another location and looking at all the dashboards with respect to the daily production. And also, if fed correctly, they can find out which machines are not doing well, or whether the wastage is high in which machine, in any particular process or in a particular machine. Or you could monitor the production quality, you could monitor the output quality. All of that is possible when we are using when we use Power BI. Now I'm just going to take you into a minute into what is a Power Platform. Though we talked about it earlier, Power Platform basically consists of four components in it. One is a Power App, which helps us to create this low code applications. When I say low code, the efficiency of the applications is very high, but to generate that application uh, it takes very less effort. And Power Automate, which helps us in the RPA, that is the robotic process automation tool, which helps us in automating workflow either within the Microsoft set of suites, or also this could also interface with other set of tools and the Power BI. So all the three components of the Power Platform, they can together work with something like 160 plus data sources, which means you could work with standard ERPs like all the Microsoft suite of products plus SAP, Oracle, and Salesforce, all the HubSpot, all of those kind of regular products plus the social media. Like you could work with both unstructured and structured data, and also any product which has got an API can also be hooked onto it. So together they make a perfect component in the sense that the data entry and the validation can all be handled by Power Apps, or any process initiation can be handled by Power Apps. And the Power Automate is the one which would handle the automation of workflows for us, or communication between different systems for us. And the data hence collected can be analyzed in Power BI. And the moment we analyze the data in Power BI, there is a feedback mechanism which could be fed back into Power Apps. So all the three are connected. And in the middle of all this, you could see that there are some CDS, which is nothing but our data stores which are there, which is common across these systems. And in addition to that, you also have a chatbot which can take data from any of this, and then you could have a chatbot operating based on this, interconnected with all of this. So this makes a Power Platform, out of which Power BI is one of the major components. So why Power BI? Because industry has a lot of tools and all tools are very good, but then why Power BI? You could see that this is a quadrant published by Gartner, and you can see that Power BI is there right on the top, led by Microsoft. Basically, they are. It's because you would, if you have been observing the analytics market in the last 2 years, you would have seen that constantly Microsoft is upgrading its capabilities and augmenting its capabilities in terms of AI, ML, and all of those technologies, and making it available even in the most basic version, so that it's totally democratizing it, so that even when you're starting small, you are able to leverage those technologies. we already saw that it covers 160 plus data sources, and the whole dashboards can be reports and the insights can be made very interactive, and you could have analysis, you could have trends done over there, and artificial intelligence, ML, NLP, and LSG are all available in all basic versions, and it allows for easy adoption in the sense you could start small and then and build over a period of time. So that gives you the flexibility to kind of not to take a big bang approach. And in addition to that, if let us say there are people who are very good at R and Python coding and they have built their own algorithms, and you could easily integrate them over here, and the data security can be implemented. This is one of the tools where I have seen that the data security is implemented in a very easily. What I mean by data security is, let us say the sales manager, when he logs in, he would like to see his data as well as his subordinates data, whereas when a sales representative logs in, he would like to see only his own data, right? So this kind of a hierarchical structure is available in all the functions, be it finance or in sourcing or in sales. All of them, it's very easy to implement data security in Power BI, right? So basically, our team is now going to take you through a small demo over here. So I'm handing it over to Venkat to handle that. And any questions you have, you can actually feel free to add them in the chat box. Additionally, we could address it.
Good evening, everyone. In this demo, we'll take you through the glimpse of sales overview, finance overview, followed by production overview. First, we'll begin with sales overview. We have taken an example of a computer seller and built dashboards out of it. Let us take a story of a country head. He is interested in analyzing his team's performance as well as their individual contribution. He can utilize this window to get desired results. Not only limited to teams data, he can also connect client-wise sales to individual plus teams performance. This analytical tool has an inbuilt feature of generating emotions by connecting sales performance. When I view Ajit's performance, our hero says, "Wow, it's remarkable." Being a country head, he can analyze year-wise sales and its collection trends through sales summary overview. Also, you can summarize total outstanding to quickly set up a immediate collection plan. Analyze data according to your own convenience. With the total sales in hand, we can build reports based on our preferences with the help of multiple selectors in the analytical tool. Interact with your hero by typing logical questions to get immediate answers. I'm going to ask our star, show me the total sales by instantly. We have got the details with charts and figures for further analysis. We'll look into the day of a CSO. Often he needs to predict or project sales for different scenarios. By means of what if analysis and selecting year plus percentage, he can arrive at trends which will help in decision making. Aging analysis help us in improving business cash flows. This chart aids the sales manager to arrive at a collection plan based on the outstanding amount of different aging categories. Sales manager can utilize the table view and export the details on factory outstanding to follow up with the claims instantly. This is the quick overview on sales dashboard, we'll quickly move on to finance summary. In finance overview, we will cover two models. First one, model of a service provider's P&L with budget and actual comparison, followed by model of a manufacturer and overview about his performance. We'll go through the first model. Let us take a story of a finance head. He is in charge for several departments, divisions, subdivisions, project and subgroups. He wants to analyze financial position, comparison against budgeted versus actual performance to assign new competencies. Imagine how many Excel and system and data required. But he can view all the details in single page with the help of this powerful tool. He can analyze company's performance from top to bottom, whether profit and loss for department wise. He can opt department filter to get details out of it. Want to track expenses alone? He can easily navigate. Analyze revenue trends? He can immediately arrive at data for comparison. Also, some organizations follow budgeted year as well as calendar year. They need to view data in two perspectives. This can be easily availed out of selectors in our analytical tool. Quickly, we'll skip on to the next model. Being a manufacturing company, whether cost of goods sold during a particular year, depreciation out of fixed assets, taxation schedules, total sales by project and different business line, all can be easily measured and supervised in a single summary page. That's all about finance overview. We will quickly move on to the production overview. Production department is the heart of an organization. A lot of questions arises when it comes to production flow. For example, how much of quantity being produced on a single day? Which factory contributed the most? How many set of processes involved in producing a product? How many employees are working in a production floor? For all these questions, single page of our analytical tool will represent immediate solution. With available details, a company's production head can compare different months' production trends to arrive best plan with possible outcomes. The summary page can also be connected directly into the TV to get displayed in a production floor to monitor real-time productivity. Next comes the important topic of an hour. How to avoid wastages. We'll hear immediate answers stating continuous improvement. Yes, obviously this will be the answer from everyone. But also we can track wastages by factory and process wise through Pareto analysis. Once wastages are identified, we can opt for the best alternatives. With the help of our analytical tool, a production manager can identify factory-wise wastages in different processes during a particular month to arrive at decision on increasing quantity as well as quality. That's it about the demo on Power BI. Thanks for the opportunity. have a safety ahead.
Hi, this is Harshan.
Yes, sir.
I might have missed some portions of the demo, but I did not see how the connection to the data source. I mean, how easy is it to connect to, let's say, there's several databases like Oracle, SQL Server. So, is it compatible with Postgres, for example, or is it only?
Uh,
So
I mean,
maybe
how do you?
Srividya,
it,
Srividya, you
it,
want to
it,
take
it
it?
can actually connect to about 160 plus data sources, right?
Okay.
It's compatible to most of the standard databases, and also the way to connect is you go to the Power BI, and you just give the connection string over there. It's as simple as that.
Got it. Okay. And it does not have to be local, right? I mean, you could probably put in the connections.
It could be on the cloud, yes. You could have it on the cloud, you could have it on premise. It's totally up to you.
Okay. And what's the licensing cost? I mean, if that's okay to share.
There are multiple options that are available because depending on your need, basically there is you start with the basic version, which is a Power BI desktop, which is the place where we build the reports and the reports, right? That's totally free. It's only when you want to share it with others, when you want to share it with others in the organization, then you actually then the different types of licenses come into play. That totally depends upon to how many people do you want to share, and what are the roles that they want to play, and what kind of security that you would like to implement for them. So it totally depends upon that. So it ranges from a pro version to a premium per user version to a premium per capacity version. So it totally depends upon the size of the organization and the needs.
Okay, definitely. I'll look it up. Thank you.
Thank you for participating in the webinar. We hope you have enjoyed the session. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you all so much for taking time and joining us today. Please reach out to us for any queries. Thank you so much.